Hey there, Wondering Watchers. Welcome to this tarot card reading made for watchers of true crime. This video references the University of Idaho murders and is intended for a mature audience. This reading in particular explores how the murders of 4 students, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonclays, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, may have affected the killer in terms of how they presented themselves to others before and after the murders. So let's take a look at the killer before the murders took place. So how did the killer portray their identity before the murders? You have the 9 of Wands here. So they may have portrayed their identity before the murders as someone who was, constantly struggling, being drained of energy, but trying to persevere. Perhaps this person was an athlete or is an athlete. So let's clarify that one. You have the 9 of Pentacles. So before the murders, the person does seem to have been someone who was rather confident. They may have been somewhat of a loner, possibly still are, but they seem to be kind of happy on their own, and they still could be someone who is into sports, someone who kind of tries to take care of themselves so that they can, continue whatever challenge is before them. That's kind of how they try to portray themselves. So let's see what the killer hid about themselves before the murders. So here, this is I believe it's the Youth of Vampires, but basically it's the Page of Wands. So what they hid was their kind of excitement, desires to express themselves in a way that maybe others would say is beyond the boundaries, in a way that's kind of childlike and maybe kind of seen as playful, but not necessarily in a playful way that others would think is appropriate. I'm going to go ahead and clarify that. We have the 4 of Cups here. So a sense of really just not being aware of their environment, not really paying attention to anything except what is going on inside of them. So in terms of what they were hiding, it's a sense of like an inappropriate delight in certain things, because otherwise they're just not really interested. So let's see, before the murders, what was the killer unable to hide about themselves from others? We have this Strength card here. And in this deck, this is a person looking at themselves in the mirror. So they were unable to hide almost like a detachment, a part of them that seemed, possibly a bit aggressive, a bit animalistic. So it's almost a sense of it's almost like a split personality I feel here. So I'm going to clarify that as well. Here is the, I think it's the angel youth of water, which is the equivalent of the page of cups. You can see here there's this angel kind of, there's a look of sensitivity, again, like a dreamer. So it's like a childlike, it's almost like a childlike personality, and then overcompensating with more aggressive behaviors or even displays of strength. So maybe they were unable to hide that they're sensitive about certain things, and that they would kind of almost be like go from super sensitive to super aggressive or super like stern. So let's see, before the murders, what was noticeable about the killer that would like give off a bad vibe. We have the Sun card here. So however they would show happiness and almost like a sense of pure like innocence, that would give off a bad vibe to others. So now we're going to take a look at after the murders, and I'm going to use a different deck. The first deck I used is Tarot of Haunted House, and this is Mermaid Tarot. So now after the murders, let's see how the killer has portrayed their identity. We have 8 of Pentacles. So they have pretty much tried to blend into the day-to-day, being dedicated to their work, and yeah, just trying to not necessarily stand out, but almost not necessarily stand out, but afraid that they stand out in a crowd. I'm going to clarify that. They have the Queen of Cups here. So to some degree, it seems that the way that they're portraying themselves is they're just kind of going about their lives, doing what they do best, but they are also like emotionally trying to be connecting to others in an emotional way, trying to be there for others, trying to like be supportive and nurturing and help out. So after the murders, let's see what the killer has been hiding about themselves. Well, there's that King of Swords. If you've seen my other videos, I feel like this is the energy the killer had at the time of, at the time that, you know, those students were murdered. Someone who is brutal, cold. I looked up the Boreas is the name of the Nordic god that this card is after, and in Greek mythology, Boreas was someone who I believe his first wife kidnapped her and brutalized her to become the mother of his kids. And in a different story, Boreas was competing for the affection with another person for, I guess, a nymph, and the nymph chose the other person, so Boreas threw the nymph off a cliff. So basically, that's the type of energy I have for the killer, and so after the murders, that's kind of what he's been hiding from others. So after the murders, what has the killer been unable to hide from others? We have this Ace of Pentacles, and this is like a gift, a new opportunity, money, but it's making me wonder if they're unable to hide some type of either trace of themselves. Perhaps it's the white vehicle that was on the gas station footage as leaving the area after the murders, like at 3:45 in the morning of November 13th. It also could be some part of the killer, like DNA evidence, or perhaps some type of trophy that the killer took. So I'm going to clarify this actually. We have Six of Cups. Six of Cups is like nostalgia, memories of the past. Again, it could be any one of those, but it could be that there's some type of either trophy that they took, something that they left that is kind of a reminder of their past. So let's see here. What is now noticeable about the killer that would give off a bad vibe? We have the Eight of Wands here. So a sense of them like being excited, or something that they feel drawn to or pulled to, a sense of them succeeding, a sense of how far they would go. I'm going to clarify that one. We have the Star. That is a card of like a dream, hope, wish fulfillment. So how they are kind of seen to go after the things that they want, either how they approach it or the things that do excite them, the things that they do wish for. That's kind of what would give off a bad vibe about the killer after the murders. So this is what I have for now. See you next time. Until then, stay on your toes and take care.